Never Stop Learning, week 272. We're going to take a quick look at how to create a pen tool selection in Adobe Photoshop CC 2015. Alright, so here I've got a logo, and I figured the pen tool would be the perfect solution to just mask away the background here. And the reason I'm thinking that is because we have some straight lines going along here, and we also have these awesome curves along the top, so pen tool is going to be great for this. Alright, now to activate the tool, just hit the P key on your keyboard. Notice my cursor changes up, and that's what the pen tool looks like. Now I'm going to go using the clockwork method, so I'm going to go in a clockwise formation. I'm going to come over here to this point, click once, over here at the 12 o'clock position, click right there. Got another point down over here, so I'll click there once over here on the right. Now I've got this straight edge, so I'm going to hold down the Shift key and then click right here so I could create this straight segment. I'm going to ignore this curve for now, then just come over here to where we're changing directions, click right there, click at this point, come down here to the 6 o'clock position. I've got another point over here, and then the straight segment, so I'm going to hold down the Shift key, click right there, ignore this curve a little bit, and then where it changes directions, I'm going to click, come along here, the straight edge, click, and then come to this final point so that I could close my path. Alright, the next stage is actually editing these guys. So I'm going to keep the pen tool activated and use the different modifiers to quickly activate different tools that I'm going to need. Alright, so I'm going to start over here at the 12 o'clock position. Now I want to activate this anchor point alone. Notice the other guys are all activated. Everybody's targeted on the path. So I've got the pen tool activated, but if I hold down the command key, it's going to switch over to the direct selection tool. I'm using a Mac, so it's the command key, but if you're on a PC, it's going to be the control key. Alright, so I'm just going to click once to target this guy. Notice everybody else is hollow now. Alright, so just this guy is targeted, and I'm going to activate the Convert Anchor Point tool. Alright, by holding down the Option key on a Mac, Alt on a PC. When I hover over this, you'll see the cursor changes. Click and drag towards the right, because that's the direction my path is going. Alright, so if I start to go along to the right, I want to straighten out my handles, so I'm going to hold down the Shift key. That keeps things nice and straight for me. And I'm just looking at the logo and keeping an eye on my segments. Alright, so I don't have the best placement of the anchor point, but I'm going to change this up in a bit. Alright, so I'm going to drag this guy out a little bit further. Right there looks good. Alright, I still have this anchor point targeted, so using my arrow keys, I'm just going to nudge this guy over towards the left. Alright, that looks pretty good to me. Now let's zoom in a little bit over here and just target these anchor points on the right. Alright, I want to bring this segment up a little bit, so I'm going to hold down the command key, click and drag, and once I have those anchor points surrounded, I'm going to release. Alright, now let's bring these guys back up, click and drag while holding down the command key. Remember, if you're on a PC, it's going to be Control. Alright, there you go. And I want to bring these guys in a little bit, so Command, click and drag. I'm going to surround those anchor points, release, but I need to bring that guy back, so Command, click and drag. Alright, I'm able to move both of those anchor points at the same time. Alright, I'd like to add an anchor point here, so I'm going to hover over this segment and get this little plus symbol. I'm going to click once. Now I've added that anchor point, and I also have these Bezier handles extended there. So I'm going to move this guy over, Command, click and drag, and release. I'm going to come over here, add an anchor point, Command, click and drag. Alright, let's zoom out. I want to change this guy over here that's at the 6 o'clock position. Alright, so I'm going to hover over this anchor point. Now I don't want to delete it, so I'm going to hold down Option to get Convert Anchor Point tool, because right now it's a corner point. I want it to be a smooth point. I'm going to click and drag towards the right, and notice I'm kind of making a mess of things. Alright, I haven't released anything. I just wanted to show you guys, when this happens to you, don't panic. Alright, all it is a little tangled. So I'm just going to bring this guy around slowly, and you could watch it get untangled right now. And then I just want to straighten these guys out so that it follows the logo. So I'm going to hold down the Shift key. It's going to straighten it out for me again, just like we did earlier. And again, I didn't do perfect placement for that anchor point. So I'm going to just stretch this guy out a little bit further and release. All right, I still have this anchor point targeted. You could tell because it's filled in with white. The rest of them are hollow. So I'm going to use the arrow keys to just nudge this guy over a little bit. All right, that looks pretty good. That's a better placement. I could bring it down a little bit. All right, cool. Now let's move on over here towards the left. Zoom in a little bit. All right, I'm happy with this segment here. It could be a little bit close to the edge, but that's fine. Now notice that these guys aren't lining up very well. So let's make some changes. I'm going to hold down the command key, click on this guy to target it, and then click and drag to bring it in. You could also use the arrow keys if you just want to nudge them around. This guy, I'm going to command click on it, and let's just bring this guy up. There we go. Now I could add a new anchor point for each one of these corners. Do a command click and drag to bring these anchor points to the proper location. All right, so that looks pretty good. It's good enough for right now, this quick demo. I definitely want to go back and make some changes, but for now this is good. The important part is we're ready to make a pen tool selection because we already created our path. It looks great. So to convert this into a selection, the keyboard shortcut is going to be Command Return on a Mac, Control Enter on a PC. All right, so now we got these marching ants. I want to make a mask out of this. So over here in the layers panel, I want to make sure my layer is targeted. Down at the bottom, I got this icon here. It's going to allow me to add a layer mask. So I'm going to click on that. All right, so now we've masked away the background. Notice I didn't do such a great job over here because some of the background's still creeping through. That's one of the great things about working with a pen tool selection. Over here on the right, I have my paths panel. And right here it shows the work path that we just created. Now, if you don't see your paths panel open, over here at the top in the window menu, just scroll down until you find paths. Click on that once, and that's going to bring up the paths panel for you. All right, you could double click on it. And that's going to bring up an opportunity to save the path with a new name. I'm actually going to hit cancel for now. But by clicking on it, you're already bringing up that path that you created earlier. All right, hold down Command, click and drag to make a selection. And now you have access to the anchor points, paths, Bezier handles, whatever you need to get the perfect selection you're looking for. And there you have it, folks. That's a quick look at how to create a pen tool selection in Adobe Photoshop CC 2015.